Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Tanks. And welcome today to, I've got another tank review. I know the last video was a tank review, but I needed to do a tank review on the Type 61 before I got rid of it. Because as you can see, I'm 4,000 XP off getting the STB. And the only reason I haven't got the STB so far is because I wanted to do this tank review on the Type 61. So that's why you're getting 2 tank reviews in a row. But hopefully you guys don't mind that too much because they're nice long videos, and even if you just want the gameplay, you can always skip just to the gameplay at the end. And today, in today's video, we've got a double helping of gameplay. I will put links in the description to the times. If you don't want to watch the review part of the video, then just simply skip straight through. Now that all of those people have gone, what have we got in store today? Well, the Type 61, Tier 9, Japanese medium tank. It's been in the game a long time. It's gone through a couple of changes. If you haven't paid attention to the recording date, recording this video in 2020, in beginning of June, if you're watching in the future. So this is, I would assume they're not going to change it again, but since the changes, I can't remember when they were, quite a while ago now, but this thing does 360 alpha damage, if that's going to help at all. But yeah, so I'm going to just talk about the tank a little bit first, and then we'll hop over into Tanks GG. I will compare the tank to some others, obviously showing you all the stats in the meantime. I will then jump back into the garage. I'll go through the equipment loadout, what I think about the tank, how I think you should play it, and then, like I said, the double helping of gameplay at the end. So, Type 61, as you saw, Japanese medium tanks, nice and easy, between the STA one and the STB one. The line itself, in general, is not too bad. I mean, Tier 1 through 5, I don't really talk about. I mean, the Tier 5 is not bad. It's just a generic Tier 5 medium tank. Tier 6, the big toe, Cheeto. It could be worse, it could be better. The Chi-Re gets a lot of hate. I don't mind it. I think it's alright. You can play it well. STA is pretty good. And then the Type 61 is a nice continuation of the line. Let's just read a little bit about the tank. The first tank developed in Japan after World War II. It was developed from 1954 through 1961 on the basis of the M47 tank. The dimensions of the vehicle were decreased and the armor was reduced. As a result, the weight was much lighter and the tank complied with the requirements on the Japanese armed forces. So this was an actual tank based off the M47, which is the pattern, which, to anyone who's not really a history buff, in game, the what we call the M46 pattern, when it's fully upgraded with like that top turret and everything, that's the M47 pattern. So that's what this thing is angled off, but like it said, just with less armor. Now let's see if that holds up. We'll go through into Tanks GG, we'll go down the stats and we'll see how it is. Now, hopping over into Tanks GG, and I like Tier 9 medium tanks. I think they're a very varied class, and you're going to see the difference in that here. I also like nearly all of them, I think. I don't think there's many Tier 9 mediums I don't like. So this is going to be a proper good comparison. So stick around for this one. We've got the Type 61 on the left. Do I keep calling it the Type 64? Part of me thinks I keep calling it the Type 64, but I don't know if I have. Type 61 on the left, Leopard prototype next to that, the M46 pattern, and then the T54 on the far right. And this is a weird comparison, something that doesn't happen in my comparisons a lot. I mean, the fact that I'm yawning does. But all 4 tanks actually have different alpha damages. From worst to best, we have the T54 with 320, then the Type 61 with 360, then the M46 pattern with 390, and then the Leopard prototype with 420. Now, bearing in mind that these 3 tanks all used to have 390 because they all have 105mm guns, it is quite strange. Now, bearing in mind that the Type 61 is not the lowest alpha damage, it's actually got the best DPM by about 50 at 2,600, that's really good. It's pretty good. It's in my configuration, it says it's got an 8.2 second reload. With my loadout, it's a 6.6 second reload, so you're rocking pretty high DPM, and I'll show you that when we get back into the garage. That high DPM is quite nice considering the fact you have got slightly higher alpha than, say, the T54. So you do more, I said do. You do more per shot than you would like every time you poke. I mean, if you're just trading 1-for-1, you're going to be doing better in the type than you are the T54, but you've still got that rate of fire to keep up with people. Penetration, pretty standard, 258. It's a tier 10 gun, but down at tier 9, same as the Leopard prototype. But the Leopard prototype has got that incredible Leopard 278mm of standard pen. One thing about the Type 61, I keep wanting to call it the Type 64, is it actually has AP as standard and not APCR like some tier 9 medium tanks do, like the Leopard and things like that. The premium rounds, I believe, are 330. Yeah, 330 standard pen, pretty standard. Shell velocity, even though they are just AP, is actually pretty good at 1,185. And you do carry a decent amount of shells to be able to do 18,000. Not quite as many as like the Leopard, which obviously the higher alpha and the higher amount of shells. But it's still, I don't think I've ever really had an issue with the shells because you're still doing 360 per shot. Onto the gun handling, and it's actually good news here as well. Aim time, slightly longer than the Leopard and the Pattern, and the accuracy is slightly worse, well, quite a lot worse than the Leopard, but better than the Pattern and the T54. The dispersions themselves are actually the best in this comparison. The turret traverse is a little bit worse, but then the whilst moving and whilst traversing the tank are much better than the Leopard, which kind of nullifies that aim time a bit, and better than the T54, and then a smidge better than the Pattern. So, and bearing in mind the Pattern is known for good gun dispersions, it's kind of got the best of all worlds here. It's got the better accuracy, and then the aim times are all pretty similar with the exception of the T54, which is going to be a bit longer when you take into consideration the dispersions. Something else this tank's got, which is absolutely wonderful, 10 degrees of gun depression. Same as the M46, but much better than the Leo and the T54. 13 degrees of elevation, that surprises me. I've never noticed it. That seems really low, but the fact that I've never noticed it, I don't think I would mark the Type 61 down on that. Now, onto the speed, onto the mobility of the tank. 45 forwards is not amazing. It's quite a low top speed. The power to weight is really good, though. The best in this comparison, actually, at 21.43. So, it doesn't have an amazing top speed when you're going long distances on the map, because everything else is going to overtake you. But when you're going up hills or when you're going short distances, just accelerating and stopping, the Type 61, very, very nice indeed, because the tank only weighs 35 tons, and it has a 750 horsepower engine, which is really good. Very nice reverse speed as well of 23 kilometers an hour, means you can get back pretty quick. The terrain resistance is fairly bog standard across all of these tanks, so I'm not going to really talk too much about those. Turret traverse of 43.8 degrees a second, again nice and quick, nothing to mention there. And a very quick tank traverse, base tank traverse, 52.14 degrees a second. This tank is very, very mobile, with the exception of that top speed. I think with the new equipment, if you could add 6 kilometers an hour to the top speed, that'd be quite nice. However, this tank obviously does suffer with the armor. I'm not even going to go into an armor viewer. It's not worth talking about. You can bounce shots occasionally off the mantlet and off the side of the turret because it's not overmatchable. And if you're using all 10 degrees of gun depression and somebody's still shooting up at you in maybe a tier 7, you can potentially bounce off the hull armor just because, again, it's not overmatchable. But its armor isn't anywhere as good as like the Patterns, for example, and obviously nowhere near as good as the T54s. Decent old slugger hit points, again, highest in the comparison at 1750. And a nice view range of 400 meters. Not quite as good as the Pattern at 410, but at the same time, not too bad. And yeah, that is the Type 61. They are all of the stats. I was actually in effective views. God damn it, Max. I started off in base views, and then when I refreshed, it went to effective. But yeah, you still get the picture. Yeah, let's jump back into the garage. I'll just explain quickly how you what the play style of this tank is like and what equipment I think you guys should be using. First things first, I think we'll start with the equipment. So again, fairly standard. I'm not going to spend too long on it, but gun rammer, obviously. Like, you'd be stupid not to. Vert stabs, there could possibly be an argument not to take vert stabs in this thing, because its aim circle stays pretty small as is, but I still always take them just because it's vert stabs. You can't argue with being able to have your aim circle smaller to start off with when you're traversing and everything like that, especially when you're trying to re-engage targets pretty quickly. And I've gone for optics. You could probably go for vents if you feel like it, with a good crew who have got situational awareness when I get recon, brothers in arms, things like that. You definitely could get away with vents, especially with a proven consumable. I've gone with optics though, because it is nice to be able to spot tanks and even diminish a bit of their camo rating when you get above 445, which is very nice indeed. And yeah, playstyle of the tank, obviously you're going to see it in the gameplay section, but this thing's, it's a very typical tier 9 medium tank, with the exception of, like I said, you've got that horsepower per ton, so you can relocate pretty quickly. You've got the good turret traverse, tank traverse, and the good gun, and because you've got such a quick reload as well, because your alpha's slightly lower but you've still got that DPM, it does mean you can re-engage targets really easily. So in this tank, you've got to have good situational awareness of what's going on around you. Don't just tunnel vision on one tank, because if you need to, you can swing your gun round and engage other targets really quickly. It's really good, and you can get to other parts of the map pretty quick as well, especially like uphills, things like that. The gun itself is, I actually really like it. I didn't think I'd like 360 that much, because it doesn't quite have the rate of fire of a 320, but it doesn't have the punch of a 390. But 360 is actually pretty nice, especially with this rate of fire, because most lower tier tanks you outtrade comfortably, because obviously you've got to think you can still face tier 8s and tier 7s in this thing. You still outtrade comfortably, but it's still a high enough alpha that going up against tier 10s and things like that, they don't want to take the shot. And more times, more than likely, because you've got that 6.6 second reload time, depending on the tier 10, if they've got 390 alpha, for example, the Centurion Action 10, if they've got 390, if you time it right, you can still put 2 shots in for every one they put. I wouldn't argue with someone like a Patton or something in that, because I think this reload is near as damn it exactly the same as my M48 Patton reload. But you've still got the rate of fire, especially tanks that do like 400 and stuff. You can put 2 shots in, which is still very nice. And yeah, it's a very good tank. It's a very well-rounded all-round tank. Obviously, don't rely on the armor, however, at all. You need to use positioning and your knowledge of maps and things like that to make this tank work, not just go sit in front of the enemies and trade shot for shot, because it's not gonna work. With that, I hope you've enjoyed the video so far, guys. I know I've waffled on a bit about this one, but I do like this tank, and I think it's a very interesting tank to play. If you have enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. If you fancy joining my Discord, there should be a link in the description as well. And also, if you fancy joining my clan D2S, you are more than welcome to ask me. I'm not saying I'm 100% going to accept you, but if you want to inquire, then just join our Discord and send me a message, and I will see what everything is all about. But other than that, let's jump into the double gameplay. So, first game, guys, and we are platooned up with Lawrence. He's playing his Skoda T50, and we are on Malinovka. This is not a favourable matchup, one of the worst matchups you're going to get. Actually, I think this is the worst matchup you can get. It's half and half, tier 9s, tier 10s. So, this isn't going to be one of these videos where I'm like, look at me farming tier 7s. Except from in the second game, where it's going to be, look at me, farming tier 7s. This first game, I'll say it now, is not an ace tanker, but really shows what this thing can do even when you're against tier 10s. Just because I'm aware that farming an ace tanker against lower tiers doesn't always show you. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So, Malinovka. I was like, what map are we on? I've decided to come up into these kind of the D5, D6 bushes. really good place to spot out. Like I said, using this view range, you've got really good spotting potential. You can spot all sorts of tanks, and I always feel like it's a good position that's needs to be taken on this map. I've got Lawrence sat behind me in his Skoda T50. I was like, there's no point both of us getting spotted if we fire. You may as well sit slightly further back and just try and shoot anything that I spot. Object 140, obviously Lawrence was just moving as he got spotted, and that 140 knew what he was doing to the point where as soon as he fired, he fell back. He didn't even wait for his sixth sense to go off. They've got a T95 spotted in the base and also a Progetto spotted in the base. That's going to potentially be important later on. When I say potentially, I mean it is. I'm just trying to add a bit of YouTube suspense to it. And yeah, the first part of this game it's not the most fun game in the world, but I've picked this because of the ending of it. Nice shot there. You saw how quickly we can snap the gun onto that leopard and see what's happened. Saw a shell hit the ridge there. That means there's someone up roughly where I'm aiming now. You see me ping the map D0 because there is going to be someone there. I don't know who. Wait until I know I'm not spotted again and then head back up into the bush. This is a really key position to take, because if someone heads down in and gets up into this position here from the enemy team, so comes down here, heads up to here, it is a right pain, like this T54 is planning on doing, but you need to make sure that you try and spot it. I get shot by TVP, and I do not want to hang around there. We snap a shot into the T54. Fortunately, the T54 gets killed for trying that, and we don't lose too much health for privilege, which is nice. You can see there that the T54, not the T54, and it's at this point I go, okay, I must be spotted because the AE is looking right at me and blind fired. It might have just been a blind fire, but I don't really want to risk it. I think it was because he fired another shot. Now, what was I saying? You can see that the Alpha is still a nice punch, but at the same time, you've still got the rate of fire to make up for it, as I keep saying in this video. It's a very nice trade-off. You can see there, 358. It still hurts, but if you miss, you've still got the reload that you don't feel like you've invested too much into a single shot. You can see, however, what I would say is one of the slightly more... it's not a massive downside, because it's very similar to a lot of other tanks at the tier, but the .36 dispersion is annoying. It's when you're used to playing like tier 10 meds, I'll just put it the way it is. It's not like .33, .32 in some cases, like I think is the M60 and things like that. .33. Oh, look at these shells on the leopard. One went high, one went low. Come on, gun up. Right down the middle. Right down the middle. There you go. Rolling for 305. Object 2684. Can we hit him? No, don't think so. Oh, we did hit him, but it's 2684. I think we hit his front. The front of his side as opposed to the back of his side. Being the front of his side is a lot thicker than the back. Now, this is something where, looking at the map, this is probably where a more average player would just be focusing on looking 100% of the reticule, looking what can I shoot, what can I shoot. But if you actually look at the map, we're pushing the hill. The enemy team is pushing the field quite heavily. We've just lost two tanks over there, the 268 and the T54. And I'm keeping an eye on this. I'm not acting yet because we've still got a Progetto and a 704, and I'm not sure how hard they're pushing. TVP has been spotted there. 430U was spotted relatively recently. Progetto, T95, at this moment in time, we don't actually know. I'm saying to Loz, I was saying, if you can get this leopard to fall back a bit, I can shoot him. And then, obviously, put him on a one-shot. Both teams have two artillery this game. Again, very important on Malinovka. I keep wanting to call it Prohorovka. On Malinovka, artillery, obviously, very important. And this is where our team, the 430U and the TVP, are pushing up. There we go. The leopard started falling back. Fortunately for me, I rolled for 400, which is very nice, and set the guy on fire, taking me up to 3,000 damage and 1 kill. And so far, we've only got 373 assistance damage. And this is where me and Loz say, right, we need to go back and defend our arty. The enemy tanks, the T95 killed the 704, so the T95 is still in his base. Our arty is pinging SOS, and whether you like artillery or not, and whether you like arty players or not, in a situation like this, you need to try your absolute hardest to save arty. If you don't save arty, you're going to be in the shit. I get spotted, I spot the TVP. I've also loaded heat. This is the first time in this game I've loaded heat. Spotting arty enables them sometimes to defend themselves, and the artillery takes out the TVP. On the move, fire at the 430U and pen him, which is very nice. Stop and aim the second shot. I know I've got a better reload than him because he's a 440 alpha. I get another fire. Cool. Where was this game when I was trying to do the incinerator mission back in the days of doing the 260? And we've saved our artillery, which is gonna you can't on a map like this. Having 2 artillery in the game is so valuable. The enemy Progetto does get spotted briefly there, and he takes out our object 777. You see me looking around here, you think, oh well, it's 12-10. This is an easy win game. But you saw me just looking around. I was actually looking at the health. We've got obviously 2 artillery, making it effectively 12-12 if you ignore RT. Oh, it's 3v2 if you ignore RT. But both Loz and the Batchat are comfortably a one-shot for the Progetto. And obviously the Progetto could kill both of them in 2.5 seconds. That then leaves me alone versus the Progetto, the T95, and Arty with the support of Arty. So I would like to say to this Batchat, hold up, I'll go first, because I can take a shot from a T95 and a couple of shots from the Progetto as well. But it's like I say, it's having those 2 artillery still in play massively limits what the enemy can do. We also said, well, me and Lawrence said on Discord, try and stick with the Batchat. If we stay together, obviously, it's less likely that the Progetto is going to be able to get the jump on us. I thought he might be up in that kind of like F7 position. It's quite a good position to spot. Like, he can spot us coming off the hill, stuff like that. Because I've got the health, I'm going to be the one who moves up and sees what I can see. And we spot artillery. I put a shot in, roll 421, which is very nice, and then fall back. I do get spotted for it, which means I think there must be something else there. I don't think it's just Arty, because I don't think Arty would have the capability to spot me. I think there was a bush in the way. It's good that enemy Arty's been taken out. I do take a shot from the Progetto, and that's where I'm like, hang on, he has to be around that corner. So wait a second, because obviously the Progetto can do a lot of damage, and if I'm still spotted, the T95 can really do some hurt to me. And there he is. I pop up around the other side of the building, try and put a shot in, bounce the shot. Lawrence is, however, in a position to put 3 in. I believe the Batchat put 1 in as well. Arty tries, Loz finishes him off, giving me 1,000 spotting damage. And yeah, good communication there as well. I said Progetto, and now it's just the T95. I have still got to be careful of the T95. The T95 could still definitely win this. I mean, I don't know if you kill Arty in time. Oh god, there he is. Wait, was that? He's facing the wrong way. He's facing the wrong way. I've loaded AP here because the T95 obviously has a lot of tracks to go through, and if I can catch him sideways on, it's fine. And with the reload being what it is, I can always reload heat. And you can see here, nice shots through the tracks, and Lawrence finishes him off, finishing that game with 5,105 damage and 2,598 assisted. Not too shabby at all. And I wanted to show that game because it was really nice play at the end there. Showed that this tank can spot. It's got the mobility to get around the map. And it was just a nice show of team play as well, saving our artillery, which puts us on Malanovka a massive tactical advantage. Anyway, let's move on into the second game. So here we go, guys, into the second game. And as you can see, this is a much more favourable matchup. We are one of 3 top tiers. In tier 9, there are tier 8s, and there are also some tier 7s, which is very nice when you get to chew on tier 7 tanks in your tier 9 mediums. We are on Studianki, and I don't mind this map when like in a matchup such as this. It's annoying when you're bottom tier, and I don't like the fact that people who are sat here and here, like out of spotting range but in render range, can shoot right into where the medium tanks, I know obviously you bring heavies here more, and medium tanks go the other way, and blah blah blah. But I don't like the fact that pretty much everywhere can shoot everywhere, and like it's good because it means you can't just you've actually got to think where can I be shot from, but at the same time it's bloody annoying. But I know obviously I don't want all maps to be corridor maps. Get a nice shot early on there into the LTG. And then now we're going to see if we can move up a little bit. Try and get this guy out. Nice second shot in there. And our Chimera finishes him off. And you can see the 360 Alpha. Obviously, when you're against Tier 7s, Tier 6s, etc., etc., 360 Alpha is very big still. Like, that's still a very big Alpha. To the point where, you know, you're really hurting tanks. But then, because you're the Tier 9, you've also got then the rate of fire to back that up. And you can see me here trying to aim at the Tiger P and the Defender. Can't quite get a shot at the Defender. It bounced off him. I think it might bounce off the side of his turret. And then we have the Tiger P as well. Now, I'm going to focus more on, you know, the tanks that are my side of the map. We've got the Samoa, a Chimera, and me. Nice shot, first things first, into the object 430. Just got to be careful falling back here. You can see me aiming at that Defender, just wary of where he is. IS, KV3, 430. First things first, fail to kill the IS and take a shot from the Mod 1. Wait a minute, that doesn't seem right. First things first, kill the IS, get the gun out of the game. Take another shot from the Mod 1, it's not great. Now we fall back, I see the 430 fire, I know that I've got a shot into him. I fire, I set him on fire. That's the, what, third fire in these two games? Absolutely ridiculous. Set him on fire and finish him off. Obviously a very, very dangerous tank, the Object 430. Fire, a bounce off the side of the Defender again. Seems pretty legit. KV3, no, can't get him. And, oh, there appears to be an ST1 there. Oh, and a Lurva there. Oh, this side is not as safe as I thought. So, Lurva first. He's isolated, and that Mod 1 is still there for an APCR. I want to get into a position, you can see that's what I'm doing here, is where I'm safe from the Mod 1 and the ST, and I can try to make it so I can just focus on getting that Lurva out. And that's things that you've got to do in World of Tanks, is you've got to try and limit where you can be shot from, at the same time as still doing damage, not just completely hiding. Revelarize, nice shot into him. Still got to be careful of him though, because obviously he does 390 Alpha. It's not something you want to be taking on a regular basis. And there's the little bastard in the Mod 1 that keeps shooting me. I fire, unfortunately we miss. I can go back out. Nah, can't be bothered. It's a big shot from somewhere. And now I'm going to focus on this Revelarize and the ST1. Mod 1 still there. Keep focusing out this Revelarize because the Samoa is just driven straight into the middle of a crossfire, which I can confirm 40,000 games of World of Tanks has taught me crossfires are bad. I mean, having a brain should tell you crossfires are bad. Take out the Lanson. I'm actually quite surprised that shot hit. I didn't think I gave him enough lead, but clearly the shell velocity on these standard rounds is not too bad. Put one into the Mod 1. I don't really want him to get away, or if he does get away, I want it to be on low health. Fire blind. Not really sure if that went in or not. It might have been just before him. It might have been just after him. I see the ST1 fire. I know that I can now get 2 shots in. And 2 shots, being able to do 720 damage, not too shabby at all. No, we didn't hit that Mod 1 blind, unfortunately. He's smart. He knows that I'm probably going to reload before him. The STRV. Come on, where's the Mod 1? The guy's been shit. I think I've only actually taken damage from that Mod 1 the entire game. Yeah, I have only taken damage from the Mod 1 the entire game. Finish him off, 248. Very nice indeed. Only the STRV and the artillery left. I have no idea where that shell went. Absolutely no idea. And where is artillery? Oh, we spot him. Someone shoots him. Make sure you hit an actual part of the Crusader SP's hull and not just fly through his gun. And yeah, that is what happens in the Type 61 when you get to stomp on lower tier tanks, it's pretty brutal. It's like I say, you've got that at higher tiers, the 360 alpha is lower alpha, but then when you go down to tier 7s and tier 8s, 360 is still a high alpha, but you've still got the rate of fire to make up for it. You see there as well, I didn't fire a single heat round that game, just didn't need to because you've got that tier 10 penetration. You're not going to need to use any more than 258 pen on, I don't think, anything at tier 9, maybe a moisture or a type 4 if you're feeling lazy, but standard rounds are really, really nice. There's not a huge amount that you're going to need heat for. And yeah, that's all she wrote for the Type 61. I'm obviously going to, not long after this recording this video, I'm going to jump onto World of Tanks and go get myself an STB one. So I'm not going to have this tank much longer. I'm probably going to sell it as well, because the way I'm going through tanks at the minute, I need all of the credits I can get. I do like the tank, but, you know, I can't keep all of the tanks, because I would have absolutely no credits left. And I'd have probably played a hell of a lot more games than I have, because I'd need to play premium so much more often. Anyway, let's go jump into the post-game stats. So, we're going to start with the first game. This was the one on Malinovka. Unfortunately, that wasn't an ace tanker, which did kind of surprise me a bit, considering how much combined damage we did. But I think it was just the lack of kills that I got that really made it so that I didn't get the ace. We did, however, get my first mark of excellence for doing, what was it? Nearly 8,000 combined, actually, which is not too shabby at all. But yeah, high caliber and Confederate, 5,105 damage and 2,500 spotting. Most of that being at the end on, where is it? The T95, 600, and the Progetto as well, which was well over 1,000. I can't remember what else I got a decent amount on. Oh, the 430 and a bit on RT as well. But yeah, not too shabby of a game. Finished top on damage, and this is one of the reasons I want to show the game. Look, me and Loz, top on damage, both over 5,000. Very, very nice game, and probably you could almost call that a carry between me, Lawrence, and the bat chat. Very, very good game. 19 shots fired, 15 hit, and 13 penned. I think a couple of those were blind, maybe? No, not in this game. I honestly can't remember. My memory's crap. 2,500 assisted in the game that lasted just over 9 minutes, which is not too shabby at all. Second game was, in fact, the ace tanker. Again, kills are key. 7 kills, 5,585 damage, and 724 assisted. Slightly less assisted, but more damage and a lot more kills. Obviously, being against lower tier tanks, you can pick up those kills a lot easier because you've got that higher alpha in relation to the tier. High caliber, top gun. One more would have been needed for a Radley. Finished top of the team. 1,364 base XP to get an ace, which is not too bad. 25 shots fired, 22 hit, and 18 hit and penned, which is not too bad, especially considering that game only lasted 5 minutes and 33 seconds, which, doing 5k damage in that time is not bad at all. And yeah, that's all she wrote for me today. I hope you have enjoyed the Type 61 tank review or found it useful in any way. If you have, please consider giving the video a like. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, because I do a lot more videos like this, a lot more replays, other fun videos, stuff like that. Like I said before, Discord and Clan, if you want to join, link in the description, and just send a message in general or something if you want to join the clan. And I think that was all I was going to say. I felt like I was going to say something else. No, can't remember what it was, so thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.